What's up? Pikmin 4 is a thing now, and there's a lot to talk about and look at. I trust you've seen the teaser trailer and the teaser picture already.
You've probably also seen all of the reactions by now. Including mine, I hope. 4!
It looks incredible, we know that, but what we don't know is what this game means for the Pikmin franchise. Will Pikmin 4 function as a reboot? Or continue the adventure after 3? Maybe it'll even end up being a prequel. That's the question for today, along with my personal hopes for Pikmin 4. The reveal trailer and that teaser image shown have already made some speculate that this character ain't Brittany, because of that hair mainly. And that's literally why we're having this whole discussion of what all of this means. Is this Brittany or not? While there's certainly a chance it isn't her, I'ma just blow your mind and say yes, it is probably her. Because, dear viewer, going by Nintendo's general design background with characters, creating a new character that's almost identical to another one, judging by the hair here, isn't really a thing Nintendo does outside of the eventual Dark Pit. To give some insight, you can take Saber from way back when in Dinosaur Planet. There he got changed to Fox, even though Saber and Fox have far more visual differences than Brittany and this new Brittany has. Think about it. Is it really that strange for a young woman to get a haircut or something in between games? Aside from characters, Nintendo, or Miyamoto generally, doesn't like to, quote, do the same thing over and over again. And that's a good and a bad thing. Cause we all know we got beauties like Paper Mario Sticker Star and the slightly controversial Star Fox Zero out of that. Back to Pikmin though. I am almost 100% certain that this character right here is Brittany, and that would mean Pikmin 4 is with almost certainty a sequel to Pikmin 3. A prequel with Brittany herself doesn't make sense timeline-wise, seeing as her first time seeing the Pikmin was in 3. Although, to open a big-ass door of what-ifs, this could perhaps be a missing relative like a mother or a sister to Brittany, and thus a prequel story might be plausible. Now take that with a big pinch of salt. Either way, let's say this is Brittany, and this takes place after 3. Why is she back on PNF 404 then? Is she alone? Is Charlie's rubber ducky there? Oh, please let it be there. One thought in my mind is that this revisit is the result of Olimar at the end of 3 somehow convincing the Kopaites that endless riches await on PNF 404. Thus, Brittany, perhaps, and the others as well, head back in search of treasure for Kopai. But who knows? There's not enough to go by to accurately create a story scenario, honestly, but it's a start. Don't judge. Generally, if anything, I think Pikmin 4 signals a new, more modern step for the franchise. A renewed focus, if you will, after the relative success of Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and of course, Miyamoto's own desire to see the series become one of Nintendo's biggest. And I mean, that should be clear with how Pikmin Bloom of all things got a shoutout. Oh, and maybe also that Pikmin is like all over Nintendo World Japan apparently. Now, if 3 is anything to go by, the story in 4 will have a bigger focus than ever. And it's not like there was that much story in 3 either, but there was a lot more than 1 and 2 ever had. At least on the surface. Although the delivery of the story might be controversial. Some people prefer the old, more laid-back story style of 1, and to a lesser degree 2, over the more streamlined, linear way 3 handle it. I know I'm leaning towards the older way more, but I've never really had a problem with 3's way either.
And with that, let's move on to the second half of this video.
My 8 biggest hopes for Pikmin 4. Share your own hopes with me after the video, okay? I want a difficulty increase from 3, aka back to 2 levels. Cause man, I found one part of Pikmin 3 in its entirety to be hard. And that's the final boss, the Plasm Wraith. Now, that might just be me, but this is my list, so shut your nectar. That sounded better in my head. The majority of Pikmin 3 was this very laid-back experience that was truly hard to mess up. Like, losing Pikmin, and let alone dying as one of the captains, was literally hard since it was so easy. Enemies like the Bulbar couldn't even lick up the actual amount of Pikmin in its range. It just licks up its max amount, and that's it. Or what about the hazards that barely do shit anymore? i.e. electricity that went from dangerous as hell to literally the most lame, useless thing ever. All of this is to say, Pikmin 3 was beautiful, but a bit too easy for someone like me. I crave a slightly bigger challenge, and a great way for that to happen is... bring back caves. Now hold on, I know my sheer Pikmin 2 love is on full display, but let me explain what I mean. The cave system in Pikmin 2 was flawed to a certain extent, with some caves being dragged out for far too long, weird layouts thanks to random generation, and the sheer amount of caves in the game. Here's the thing, the idea isn't bad. No, to me the caves were a thing that can evolve, by first having less of them, making them not randomly generated, and then giving them an actual value aside from treasures. That can be the return of white or purple Pikmin, or an entire new type of underground Pikmin. If you didn't like the caves in Pikmin 2, ask yourself why. Was it any of these reasons I mentioned, or something else? Boss battles in Pikmin should not be face fights. AKA, don't handle boss battles like the majority of Pikmin 3, where bosses often moved around or did something forcing the player to stand by and, well, wait for the opportunity to attack and do some damage. AKA, falling into the common repeat cycle of boss battles that something like modern Sonic is always dealing with. Instead, go back to what was in Pikmin 1 and 2, aka allowing for the creation of opportunities to attack whenever you want. See the beady long legs? You can attack him whenever you want using yellow Pikmin, or wait for him to lower the head part, so Pikmin can reach it. That provides options, attacking in cycles or attacking using, let's say, a spicy spray and a purple Pikmin to defeat almost anything in one go. The option is there. As much as I love the winged Pikmin from Pikmin 3, the boss fight with the Scornet Maestro was so boring. If you did it the normal way, that is. Cause yes, I wanna remember there is a way to sort of force your way to attack her almost all of the time, but it's a little difficult because of the near constant protection of the bee things. Expand the game's areas. I realize this might sound like I didn't enjoy Pikmin 3, which, no, I love that game. It's one of the best for the Wii U and now the Switch. And one of the best things from it was the map design and general hugeness of the areas, and that's something I want to see more of. Bigger areas with possibly a bigger daytime limit to balance it out with. Now, that segues into my next point. Make the game longer than 3. Please! Pikmin 1 was just as long as it needed to be for a first game in the series. Pikmin 2 is a great adventure that is just about the perfect length. Then Pikmin 3 came and essentially ended just around when I got the feeling of, this is getting good. Moral of the story, Pikmin 3 was far too short. Take a good look at the main plus extra section of the main games on how long to beat. Notice the difference between Pikmin 2 and 3? Yeah, that's what I mean. I need Pikmin 4 to be around the length of 2, and that's pretty much it. Music should be weird again. Pikmin 3 had a beautiful soundtrack. That's not even a debate, but it is too beautiful. Let me explain. In Pikmin, you go to a strange alien planet with foes all around you. With safety not assured, you explore strange lands, not knowing what might pop up next. Now, that doesn't fit all well with Pikmin 3's soundtrack to me. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, listen to the strange-ass soundtrack of Pikmin 2. To me, this fits far better with the weird nature of the Pikmin world, and as such, I think this style of music should return. Give me treasures again. Fruit fit 3 perfectly and made me hungry more times than I want to admit, honestly. But in the grand scheme of things, I loved the treasures from 2. Who cares if it's a product placement, I mean? It made the whole thing about PNF 404 being the Earth after human extinction so much more believable. And seeing as there's already man-made objects like that clock and the bench in the teaser trailer, it would make sense to include treasures again. Make sure to include the Go Here function from 3. Yes, one of the best features from 3 that must return. or at least must return if Pikmin 4 has more than one captain, which I'd assume to be the case seeing as all of the other games match captains with the game number. So what do you think? Have I lost my mind? Do I have a point? Well, let me know.
If you enjoy this kind of content, then I would appreciate a like, and maybe even that you'd subscribe. But hey, no matter what, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Have a good one.